Hello and welcome to Etude number 6, part 3. This is going to be the final part to this study. Because it is so short and in essence Villa-Lobos repeats the second half just with a different right hand pattern, this is it. You've pretty much learned most of it once you've hit these last few micro-studies. So let's dive into the next micro-study. Welcome to micro-study number 9, diminished 7th part 5. This micro-study is actually quite important because this idea of floating down the fretboard with a chord and then a diminished chord in between pops up again in Etude number 12. So practice it now and you will find it slightly easier when you hit the last study for Villa-Lobos. Main points here are you could use 1 or 4 as a guide finger down. Bear in mind that 1's going to squeak a little bit, so you will need to lift it ever so slightly. Obviously the usual advice, laser ahead. And last but not least, there is a half bar here, so just be gentle with the squeeze and pull in with your left hand. Let's dive in. Right, micro-study 9 is nice and simple. We're literally starting with this diminished shape, and then all we're doing is moving it out. Half bar, a fret down, 4th finger, a fret up. So your 4th finger is going to go from 12 to 13, and your 1st finger is going to go from 11 to 10. Now the great thing is that movement is all that's required, and then you shift down a semitone from 10 into 9, a diminished again, open, shift down a semitone, diminished, open, diminished, open, diminished, open, until you get to here at fret 2 where it changes. Nothing else to it, so as soon as I'm here, my eyes are lasering the fret behind. From this point the fingering changes. Your 1st finger is going to slide down because you need that F on in the A minor chord there, and that is the end of it, and we're into the next turnaround. So let's take a look at that nice and slowly. Welcome to micro-study number 10. These are the next 2 turnaround bars for the study, and let's dive into the main points. First thing here is the anchor finger, number 3, is very important for this micro-study. Keep it down. Secondly, there is a full bar here at the 1st fret, so remember, pull back with your left hand. Guide fingers 1 and 3 are really important here, and then number 4 right on the end. Last but not least, there is a little bit of a stretch for your left hand here when you have to reach up for the G. It's not impossible, just needs a little bit of practice. Right, let's dive into this micro-study's fingerings. Right, micro-study 10, turnaround part 2. So we're picking up from this chord, and you then go into straight A minor, open string, and then A minor with the G in the bass, 4th finger on. Now, throughout all of this, keep an eye on your 3rd finger. So your 3rd finger is going to stay on, you're going to change around it. 2nd finger on a low F sharp, 1st finger on a D sharp for that B7 chord, and then your 3rd finger is going to stay where it is again, and then you're going to just put a barre down at first, then you're going to shift it up. You can shift up with your 1st as a hinge bar and your 3rd finger. You're then going to go into what is in essence a B flat chord, but a B flat with an A in the bass. And then you're going to shift up with your 4th finger here into the B7. So again, the main thing here is your 3rd finger stays down. From this point on, leave your 3rd finger down. Let's take a look at this nice and slowly. And then you're into... Okay, technically that is the last micro-study for this etude. Why? because we have hit halfway point and all Villa-Lobos does is repeat the harmonic material but with a different right hand pattern. So the next couple of micro-studies, apart from the last one, deal with the right-hand patterns and any sort of areas that I felt might need a little bit of extra attention to them. Welcome to micro-study number 11. Micro-study number 11 deals with bars 28, 33 and 48 respectively, because these are areas that just need a little bit of attention with the right-hand pattern. From this point forwards in the etude, you are using a right-hand pattern of I, M and A together and then the thumb. So it's kind of like this motion. All movement is from the big knuckles. How do you get that secure? Planting. Now you can't plant or full plant the entirety of the study, the entirety of the back half of the study, but you can do it in certain places. So in the beginning, I would plant the fingers, plant, plant, plant. And I would concentrate particularly on planting my thumb so that I knew which string I was on. That can be built into each one of the micro-studies again. Just go over 1 to 10 and you can find each section where full planting or even sequential planting, which is what I am doing, I'm doing a combination of the both, will work for you. So that is bar 28, where the material starts to repeat. At bar 33 we have the diminished section, the first diminished section, where your thumb is going to be bouncing from string 5 to string 6. I am planting there, and if I do it slowly, can't really hear it because it's being covered up by the chord or the bass string. So the thumb there is planting to give myself extra stability. You will need to make sure that your thumb is very relaxed in order for you to get that section. So don't tense up the entirety of your hand. Next area that needs a little bit of attention is bar 48 onwards. Again, it's a diminished section. What you want to do is make sure that you do not cut the basses short. So hold as long as possible and shift fast. It is possible to do that, so make sure that you keep that clear and concentrate on the bass line. Do not cut them short. And that is it in essence, apart from the last few bars, which we're going to cover in the next microstudy. Welcome to microstudy number 12, the ending. These are the last few bars of this piece. Main points here are laser ahead. Make sure the leading note, the appoggiatura on the G, is played twice. And keep the open E bass on the entirety until the end. This ending only works because the open E is juxtaposed against the third of the chord, the G, and then the ninth, the F sharp, which is what Villa-Lobos was aiming for. So do not let the E's from the C chord go, especially the bass. Keep them on. Let's dive into the fingering. From the B7, the 5 chord, we slip into C major, but with the low E and the open E prominent. Then you're going to take fingers 1 and 3 and shift them up to G, which is at fret 8 and fret 10, and then you're going to slide them down to an F sharp, and then you're going to stretch out for the harmonics 12 and 7 on string 1 and 5. And again, make sure that this, keep these fingers tight, do not stop. We have one and a triplet feel to the ending there, so make sure that the triplet feel is in. Villa-Lobos, again, on the end of his studies, there is always some sort of triplet to pull the rhythms back. So let's take a look at microstudy number 12, nice and slowly. Thank you very much for staying until the end. That was etude number 6. The next video and next etude is going to pop up just about here somewhere. If you're interested in grabbing a free copy, head over to classicalguitarrocks.com or hit the link below.